Alright, welcome everybody to the NWO Show, your source for everything New World. We have kind of a fun show today. We're going to turn off the video that's playing, and we're going to turn on one that we have from another event. A few months back, we were invited to participate in a special event where we were allowed to take video of the alpha client under special event privileges, basically, where we could video it. You can see a ton of the names in here. Start with NW. Those are New World devs. We had the opportunity to chat with them as we ran through an expedition. One of the things that was really cool at the end of that was that we also had the opportunity to do some PvP with them, where we would go through and basically just duel them with the different weapons and just kind of generally talk weapon balance and PvP, our dreams for the game, etc. It was really a great event. Loved the opportunity to be there, and we got the whole thing on video. So with that, because it was part of this press event, it was something that we were allowed to share, and we shared this back when we talked about the Amaran expedition, and I figured this is a good time to bring it up, talk about it, and say, hey, New World's PvP system is alive and well, so let's dive in and take a look.
And you're sporting the currently the what weapons are you sporting? You're sporting the what was
Ice
fairly
Gauntlet,
new at that particular time.
Fire
Ice Gauntlet
Staff combo. Yeah.
So you were going full intel.
Yes, I am. I don't want to say full glass cannon build because I did have some in Constitution, but I had a solid intel build going for this, and yeah. So New World Junie decides, all right, he wants some of this. When a duel starts, you both have, one person sends it, you gotta accept it, and then it gives a countdown. If there's any outside interference, like an NPC or something like that, then that actually impacts the players in terms of like damage or healing or anything like that, it gets taken away. Or it nulls the duel, so you don't nobody loses unfairly. But yeah, then once they go down, then they get the option to stand back up. Yeah, no one's worse the wear for it, because duels are not meant to be like straight up to the death or anything like that. So,
and also you don't get any damage. You don't get any damage on your gear and stuff like that.
Exactly. McLeod, what weapons are you using here? This fight is between us, so.
Oh Jesus! I think I kind of tried to go.
It's like spear.
I think I tried to go intel and dexterity because I wanted to try out the bow. I wanted to try out basically the changes at that particular time, the changes to the bow, to the musket, and also see how and also try the ice gauntlet. Sorry. So I was kind of like, intelligence. Dexterity build would work because the musket kind of is an intel dexterity weapon. Bow being dexterity, and then obviously the ice gauntlet is intel. So
yeah, all right. So I do want to prompt this. I said it in chat as well. But if anybody in the audience has questions about the PvP or really anything about the game, provided that it's either in this version of the game that we were allowed to play or discussed in the patch notes, we should be able to talk about it. So or at least from the perspective of how that might have impacted the game since this version. Because obviously we've got a little bit of a different perspective than many of the people out there when it comes to what we can say, because obviously having a much more recent version of the game that we've been able to play publicly, this has kind of given us the opportunity to talk about a much more recent version of the game. So here you can see a duel canceled by Barkamedes being a dick.
What I found interesting comparatively to like how you set up and how I set up was like you just went pure intel, right? You went pure intel and a little bit on on con, right? So you had some health, but like you had you were basically stacked like seriously on intel, I believe.
I was pretty heavily intel based. At the time, the fire staff ice gauntlet combo was incredibly potent. And I wanted to showcase, obviously also at that time it was brand new to have the I let him hit me there for the record. That was actually me. That wasn't me just having 30,000 ping. That was me literally letting him hit me because he was unsure if he was able to still because of Barkamedes being a problem in the prior one.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason the reason why I brought up the stacking versus mine is it can seem as though spreading your stat points, your attribute points, although may allow you to have access to be able to use various different weapons, it also means that your weapons are not as potent. I definitely felt that when it came to sort of fighting you. Very much felt like my hits were nowhere near as powerful, and yours were like Jesus, like a freaking freight train hitting me. So
yeah, it was definitely very powerful, but at the same time it did have very specific counters. So one of the things that we're not airing as part of this show is the discussion. So you can see the voice icon occasionally go on over somebody's head. We're not gonna air that conversation because it just discusses some stuff that just isn't relevant to this. But we are also discussing balance and things like that with the other people who are around us, which you can see by their names are in fact New World devs. So was kind of a good opportunity to be like, hey, this is how this might be a little bit overpowered, but it does have counters. So you'll notice I win a sizable amount of these. Another thing to note is that I've got a 15 ping compared to McLeod here, who's got 130 ping. But the big thing was actually the weapon types was probably the biggest counter. Because sure, the fire staff is strong, the ice staff is strong, but the fire staff is strong when you can get that incinerate to go off. It's not super strong when you can get or when you can't get close enough to use it. So
one of the
muskets, bows.
One of the interesting things about that you'll see with the footage being shown is when you fire your ice, especially the fire staff, the ice staff, the ice gauntlet less so than the fire staff, but the fire staff, when you're firing off projectiles, they are actually fairly slow. The projectile velocity is very slow comparatively to say a bow or I think it probably is. What would you say? Like, would you say the bow's the slowest, or would you say the fire staff projectiles are the slowest? I'm not sure, but like,
the fire staff by far is the slowest.
yeah.
Like it
So
feels
in
like you're
terms of
throwing a
projectile
volleyball.
velocity,
Like it's
yeah.
the difference
So
between throwing a volleyball and throwing and shooting an arrow. Like the arrow is relatively quick, like you can kind of see it. If you're paying, like if you've ever played paintball, would be a good example there. Like you can see it, as it's happening. But like if you're throwing a volleyball, it's slow enough that like play a game with it. There's paintball. It's a little bit less of an ability to dodge.
like you see it, but like as you see it, you pretty much know that you're gonna be hitting it, like it's gonna be hitting you. Whereas like, someone throws a volleyball at you, like or dodgeball or something like that, like you can see it, and you have if your reactions are fast enough, you have the ability to be able to like duck under it or move. So in terms of like projectile velocity, it's I would imagine it pretty much goes from slowest to fastest is probably fire staff, bow, ice gauntlet, and then musket, right? Because musket's pretty much instant. What did you say?
Oh no, I was absolutely. I was also typing in our Discord.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, we run a Discord. We've been basically running this Discord for about a year and a half now, or actually about a year and 7 months. So it's been quite a while. We are, and I will take the credit for this, the longest running continuous, not the most episodes, because Studio Loot has beat us on episodes due to my job and COVID. But the longest running, because we started first. We are the longest running talk show for New World. So it's always awesome to see new people in the crowd and all of that. We've got a Discord that has a whole bunch of art and stuff like that from the original stuff that was in in concept and all that. I know a lot of that stuff is going to come out soon-ish. I think it's going to be part of the concept art book that is part of the
deluxe version. Yeah.
Deluxe version, yes. Losing my mind apparently. This is obviously a little bit later than we normally stream. We are going to be streaming live for the beta. We are unfortunately not part of the massive streamer battle for New World that's going to happen, but I think that's understandable. Team Covenant, so
Yeah, I think that's kind of understandable though, because when it comes to sort of viral marketing and that kind of thing, like I can understand Amazon Games kind of wanting to hit every single kind of mark when it comes to getting streamers on board and getting kind of hype kind of moved, because at the end of the day you kind of want to you want to do as much promotion for as little kind of effort as you can, so you can free up the workload for being able to support and being able to help some of the smaller streams, as well as just like being able to I wouldn't say prioritize, but like troubleshoot people in general, almost on a one-to-one basis sometimes.
Well, I'm sure they also want to.
There might be a lot of people. Like there could well be a lot of people. We have we have no idea how the game's gonna function when it comes to sort of live. We expect it not to be the absolute shit show that was what is it? Last Oasis.
Oh God.
But never say never. Like things can go sideways suddenly for almost no reason. but I don't kind of expect it to.
Yeah.
But you know,
The hype around this game right now is palpable. Like, it is, you can feel it. Like, it's it fundamentally, like, our entire mood of our Discord has changed in the last 4 days. The activity's shot through the roof. Viewer counts are up. The New World channel itself has been resurrected from streaming to sub 100 people to now has 4,000 almost.
That's over the what's it 1 year and sort of was it 1 year and 7 months, 6 months that we've been doing this? Like, it's been very rare to see the New World kind of Twitch kind of channel, or the Twitch kind of category. Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Sorry, it's like 3 a.m. for me. My brain's not really functioning right now. Anyway, yeah, it's been very rare to see the specific New World category like that high. Like, we only really ever saw it in the sort of hundreds or thousands when Amazon Games were doing actual press events, or the preview, for example. So yeah.
Well, and you can also tell from like the subreddit, where it's just insane right now. Like, the traffic has tripled. The counts are going up. It's truly awesome to watch. So here you can actually see Junie beats me. So there is a counter to the fire staff. As I was saying earlier, like, he swapped to the bow, and it was like, hey, that's actually a really good counter to the fire staff, because a lot of the abilities for the fire staff really need you to be on top of them. If you can't close range, there goes that.
I mean, to be fair, I did try the bow, but like when you're trying to shoot super accurately with a bow or with a musket, at somebody who has like super low ping, and you have quite a lot of ping like I did, didn't work out too well.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been
the nice thing is that also indicates that the action is the combat is actually very moment to moment combat. Like, it does require a degree of reactionary, like, good coordination, good reactions to be able to beat opponents, which I think that is a positive, especially considering that it's that the combat has been touted to be action action orientated combat rather than tab targeted and that kind of stuff. So when good reactions are key to winning a fight, then that shows that it's not just about
me with a rapier as well there too.
There you go. When the combat kind of when it shows that the combat is something that is capable, that has a big function regarding moment to moment gameplay, right? Reactions and being able to counter people very quickly.
Oh, I just 100 to 0'd him. Like, solid combo right there. Solid Oof. Combo. Oh. He thought I was going to switch to the Ice Gauntlet, because I've been telegraphing that for multiple fights as kind of like the starting weapon. Yeah. For the record, like, one of the things that I really think is cool is being able to watch the devs actually play the game. Like, they're not bad at this. Like, when you see me win a lot of these fights, like, and I'm also losing several of these fights to them. Like, a thing to remember here is that I've got somewhere in the ballpark of about 3,000 hours played between all of the different alphas. It's a hefty amount of experience, and they're able to be competitive with me, which is definitely saying something. Yeah. And of course, they're just solid dudes. We are going to be going North America, NA East. We haven't picked a server quite yet.
Chances are we'll probably do that on the day.
And now that we know what the servers are called and all that, we're kind of just trying to see like where a couple of friends are going, and we'll be going Covenant 100%. The company name for the company that will run is the Ninth Legion. If you're interested in joining the Ninth Legion, we'll be more than happy to take you guys, or take on anybody, because we're basically just running a public group. Have some fun, have some people to hang out with. I heard Atlantis is going to be really busy though. So
I called it.
I
literally
going to be crazy.
I literally called it, like in our Discord. I was like, you know what? Just looking at the names, right? I knew that Atlantis would be definitely a high pop, if not the highest pop in NA.
Oh yeah.
It's always the A names, man. It's always the A names. Top of the stack.
So, for anybody curious, this is about as recent footage as you can possibly get of PvP in New World, without, I think the IGN coverage on Outpost Rush is the only newer content than this. And even then, like, this is pretty much specific to this channel, because our YouTube is basically just a repository of the live show. You guys can feel free to follow there as well if you feel like. Eventually, we'll get our crap together and actually make YouTube content as well. We've been working on it, but yeah. You have a calming voice, bro. Get that into radio. You were like the fourth person to tell me that. This week even, ended up having a supervisor tell me that chill. As well.
just sounding chill as fuck, man. Just chill as fuck.
Oh yeah. One would argue that I'm also one of the calming pillars within the community, because I'm also one of the Reddit mods. So like this calm collective voice also translates well to being just calm, collective, and just chill as fuck.
I have heard you many times though, very irate.
Oh yeah. There's definitely occasions where I will flip my shit, 100%. Yeah. My baked? No. If I was, my employer would have a big problem with that.
Oh yeah.
I am naturally this calm and just chill. That said, this fight is actually between me and Redbird. For people that don't know Redbird, Redbird here is
one half of
Studio Loot. Yeah.
Redbird and Bordy.
Yeah. So it was a good fun to be able to play with him on this as well, and really just be able to sit here, have fun with the devs, have fun with some of the other long-term content creators. Was almost like there's Callie Gold in the background. I'm standing right in front of Redbird. There's a ton of guys that we know because we've been in the community forever, and we've chatted with these guys, we've been in their streams, or like in the chat of their streams at least. I've been on one of Studio Loot's shows. At some point, we need to invite them over here, like,
Yeah.
just to like return the favor. Hey, thanks for the follow. What weight class are you guys gonna go for? I'm going full dex, and full dex constitution build. So basically, I'm gonna kind of aim for light because I want people to fear my dodging ability. And as you can tell from like the video here, like I don't like. There's no way of saying this without coming across like conceited in some way. But like you can tell through this video that like I win more battles than I lose. When it comes to like one-on-ones by a pretty wide margin. Groundbreaker over there is definitely the bullet sponge. And then we've got Jamie, who's going to be our healer. We've got Alonge, who's going to be doing a lot of our crafting and market stuff for us. McLeod here. Mac, what was the build you were going for?
I was going to go into Intel Focus build. My thought process is it's probably going to fit well or gel well with the ping that I have. So
Oh yeah.
That was the thought process really.
Yeah, especially with the AOE abilities on the on a lot of the equipment there is gonna be better, for like the staff and the gauntlet specifically.
Yeah, so the thought process is an Intel focus build, so I can kind of swap between AOE damage at distance sort of thing, as well as healing. So good Vista.
I gotta be careful that my video doesn't capture anything outside of like the area we're supposed to stay within.
Oh, dude, don't worry. Like, I mean, to be fair, a few people did videos of this and used captured footage from way far away in comparison to this. So
yeah,
we all good, man. We good.
Yeah. So for those just joining, because I'm noticing the viewer count here is slowly climbing. This video, before anybody tries to report me to Amazon, was taken at a special event that was under the watchful eye of Amazon and with the permission of Amazon to record. You'll notice that the number of the people that we fight against here are content creators. The other ones all have NW in front of their name. That's by design. Because this is part of the Amaran Expedition event, where we're all just kind of hanging out after the event, having a good time. And really actually just kind of taking the opportunity to just chat with the devs who were just infinitely cool bros to have. And just, just awesome guys to just chat with about the game. Like, we've been having conversations for years, but like, being able to like just chill with them in kind of a setting like this was pretty baller. So, I'm again watching the viewer count spike,
Welcome everybody.
Welcome everyone. For those that don't know, we run a Discord as well. If you're interested in our content, make sure to hit that follow button so you can see it. We're going to be streaming, all weekend, or not all weekend, but we'll be streaming on at least Saturday and Sunday, as well as again on Monday. And then prior to launch, we'll be streaming. We will kind of stream our reactions to the official event itself at 9 o'clock on the day. And then from there, we will also stream immediately after playing the game. What weapon set would you recommend for a new player? Sword and shield and bow. So
I partially kind of feel like, you can players can kind of get a little bit, new players especially, can get away from things like the sword and the shield, but still realize that you can still block,
yes,
with other weapons. Because I think a lot of people kind of go like, well, if I don't have a shield, I can't block. Well, that's not really the case. Like, you can block, you can use block with other weapons. It does work. It doesn't work as effectively as a
right.
shield, as it obviously would be. But like, if it kind of breaks away from that idea of, only being able to block with a shield, which I think is a good thing to sort of break a new player's mindset away.
The hatchet was nerfed pretty hard. That said, it is still a very, like, here's the thing. Every weapon, and you'll see, like, over the course of this video, every weapon has a counter. Every weapon has abilities that some people will perceive to be overpowered. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit in the video so that we can get to the point where we're actually, like, fighting. There we go. You'll notice in this video, I'm playing with the Ice Gauntlet Fire Staff combo. The way you build your characters, you can use any weapon at any time. However, how effective that weapon is going to be based on your attributes. So you can put points towards attributes, or your gear can have attribute points on it. So like if you put on, I think the clothing I'm wearing right now is all intelligence based, where it boosts my intelligence attributes. So like if I were to use a bow, which is dex based, I would be able to shoot people with the bow, the whole works, but I would not be able to do a ton of damage with that bow. Comparatively speaking to the Fire Staff and the Ice Gauntlet, where I'm almost entirely intelligence built, so I hit like a fucking truck. So in terms of what would I do for a new player is really, so pre 10, pre 20 you can respec with no cost for your attributes. I want to say it's pre 20 you can respec for any like attributes. Give them all a try. Figure out what you want to do. Like they all kind of play differently. They all feel different, but they're all fun.
They all play differently. They all feel a bit different. Like one, it depends if you're playing with a high ping or not. Like, so that is very, very personal, depending on where you are and what server you're playing with, kind of thing. If you're playing with friends and they're halfway around the world, like there's certain weapons that won't work out too well for you, or like that should be understandable based on the type of combat that that the game is sort of, that the combat gameplay is built around. But yeah, like just try out the new weapon, just try out weapons, see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Like everyone has a different style of play. There's some gameplay that I like. There's certain things I like about the spear. There's certain things that I like about the axe. There's definitely certain things that I like about the sword and shield combo. I haven't tried too much the great axe and the warhammer as such. Like not the more recent stuff, not more recent builds sort of thing. I think we've all tried every weapon to some degree, but they've changed they've changed quite a lot, in successive alphas. We can't exactly go into how they changed and how they felt before, sort of thing, but we can kind of talk about how they, about the changes that are on the patch notes and stuff like that, and our personal kind of experience, from these specific kind of press events, that kind of thing.
For those that are wondering, like, where this is from, because like a lot of people are going to be like, hey, this is really, really recent footage. This is the special event for the Amarin expedition immediately following the actual expedition run. of which, like, if you know, speak up now if you actually want to see the expedition run, we can throw that on as well. I figured to show off the PvP, you know, but you know, following our opportunity to do the expedition, we had this really cool opportunity to just kind of chill, chat with the devs. The recorder was still running, and you know, kind of took this opportunity to have you know, some duels with them, and get it on.
Should go over that mechanic, right? Because I think a lot of people might be thinking like, oh well, sure. I didn't. I thought it was. I thought the PvP on this was all just, you know, flagged PvP. And you know, when you look at the at us, like, you know, if you know what to look for in terms of a flag player, like, you'll notice that, like, you know, certain, you know, that we're not always constantly flagged.
Yep.
And the
right
reason
now
for
we're
that
actually
is
only flagged to
because-
each other. So
yeah, that's the thing, because at the moment you're actually specifically using the dual mechanic, which allows you to essentially practice PvP with another person, or up to groups of 5. So you can
the hatchet was nerfed.
you can basically, you and 4 other friends can duel with you know, another group of 5.
Yes. So yeah, this mechanic works, like, it's really kind of cool because you can 1v1, so like you can direct invite another player. If you're inviting somebody who's not in your group, it gives you kind of a different menu, where like it'll ask you like if you want to fight their group, and you can kind of set up everything all the way up from 1v1 to 5v5, and variations in between. So it's really kind of a cool mechanic where, like, you know, we're clearly looking to PvP here. We're getting the opportunity to, but it's also, you know, this, you know, isolated fight. And at one point you could see the Barkamedes gets involved and interrupts the fight. So, like, if NPCs get involved in a duel, it cancels the duel. You know,
There's
cancels
various
it for interference.
So there's various things that interrupt it, like you know, as you see in the thing that in the sort of footage, Bargamedes does interrupt it, and because of that, it cancels the duel. That would happen with you know, if a player came in and tried to interrupt, like if a player came in and tried to, like, say, heal, like you know, that would interrupt, and that would basically cancel the duel as well. So it's
Yeah.
it's good. They definitely thought about, like, you know, outside interference and whether that would be you know, whether that would be a positive or a negative thing when it comes to dueling. And obviously it seems to be they called it right that it would definitely be a negative. So they've made sure that, like, it can't adversely affect dueling.
Yeah. So one of the things to note, I did say, like, you know, kind of shortly there, the hatchet got nerfed. It was definitely nerfed, but it is still powerful in its own right. So, like, you know, like the example of the fire staff, sure, it's powerful in this video, but, like, there was also a patch after this, so, you know, it may not be as powerful, but, you know, just about everything in the game is, if you are fit, if you have the correct attributes, if you have the correct build going, it will make you feel powerful. That said, if you don't use it right, if you've got, you know, if you're, you know, using the wrong attributes, you're gonna feel pretty weak. The other thing that's not really showcased here very well, or that we don't showcase almost at all in here, is Constitution builds, which Constitution is still very important. It determines, you know, additional health. You know, so very tanky builds. You know, I'm going a solid, you know, Intel build for this. So, like, you know, very, very explosive damage, but you can tell when people get in close, they're able to do a sizable amount of damage.
The interesting thing on the in terms of tanking. Like you have sort of, I think, kind of two real sort of stats that affect how much you're tanking. Sort of like that's how much attribute points you put into Constitution, but the other thing that really affects it is the gear that you're wearing, and the gear that you're wearing will have like a elemental and a physical resistance rating, I think it's called, and that basically determines like sort of how much would you say it's how much damage it sort of like mitigates, or like how much damage it absorbs. Sort of, I'm not entirely certain. But
I think it's how much it absorbs.
Resistance.
There's some good videos out there. Hey, thanks for the follow. I love it when people hit the follow, because like I'm a huge fan of our custom animation, and like we don't get to see it all that often, so like
but it's nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And also, I like the snowballing effect of more people following the channel as well, because it helps the channel out.
Yes.
No end, in the long term.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like we had kind of this really cool opportunity. Obviously we had a lot of fun with this particular experience. I wasn't really expecting to get an invite to this. I assumed they were going to do it with bigger content creators, but instead they allowed us to come in and kind of take it away and run it with a whole bunch of mid to smaller content creators. So it was really kind of cool. Have we played the alpha? Yes, we've played a lot of the alpha, if not almost every one of the alphas.
We've played too much of the alpha.
Yes, it's been a problem. The footage you're actually watching is of a version of the alpha build that is considered the special event build from I want to say 3 months ago. It's one of the more recent events that they've had when it comes to the expeditions and stuff like that. But meaning you've experienced combat without stagger? Yes.
Oh, okay. It was 2 months ago.
Am I worried about it? No.
2021's not been as bad as 2020, so like 2 months feels like 3. It doesn't feel like 6. So
Yeah. A lot of people are fearful of the whole like, oh, there's no stagger, like it's gonna be more difficult, like it's gonna feel like whatever. Like, simply put, with kind of an emphasis on using abilities, your abilities are your crowd control. So like, when you hit somebody that has a crowd control component to it, so I don't know why. Sorry, apologies for the bot. When you hit somebody with an ability that has a crowd control component, you still knock them over. You still knock them back. You do whatever it's supposed to do. Like, it's not like all CC of any kind was removed. It's simply put making it so that people don't feel like they're just stagger locked and screwed unless they have perfect timing, or happen to know perfect timing.
Yeah, so the funny thing is, like, when you go back to sort of how the gameplay kind of, how the combat system presented itself to sort of new players, or sort of people new to who hadn't played the alpha, essentially.
I believe the pre-download will start the day before.
Yeah, there was a degree of confusion, and that confusion kind of basically manifests itself as as frustration, right? So there were a lot of people frustrated about the fact that they kept on getting stun locked, and they felt like they had no recourse, no abilities to get out of it. There was abilities to get out of it, and some of the people who, knew the combat system back to front because they've been playing the alpha for a long period of time, could step you through how to sort of get out of that situation. But it was never really apparent to somebody who started picking up the game and playing it, in the preview. So that is a fundamental problem. If your combat system is so complex that people don't understand it from a almost sort of a natural sense, then there's an issue. There's a problem that you have to deal with.
So this duel right here is actually what I was waiting for. McNat, I saw your comment in chat here. There are counters to the Fire Staff. The Fire Staff has also received a buff or a nerf since then. So there, note that. But also you'll notice he just brought it to me with a bow. So it's very the weapons, in my opinion, are in a relatively balanced state. They're are potential exceptions, but we will see how that plays out. I'm one of the things that I'm really not worried about, because all things have generally a counter to them. So if for instance you go with a super heavy dex build, you're gonna be countered by the fact that you don't have any health. So, sure, you can hit people with a bullet that, deals a sizable chunk of health damage to them, but, you're also going to, crack like a twig if you get hit. So, with the change in the sprint mechanics and stuff like that, there's a lot to take into account when you go to fire at somebody, because that's going to slow you down. Another instance here, he's coming at me with the rapier and teaches me the what for. I'm in this one, I'm actually a relatively solid glass cannon build for intelligence, and I'm relying on the AoE and the power of the Fire Staff at very close range to live. Hey, thanks for the follow. Because I'm still watching the viewer count go up, and it's going and going. I want to again emphasize that this is video that was recorded during the. You guys are making my day here. So many follows. Thank you. This is video that was recorded during a special event. In the top right corner, I can shift the video if you really need it, but top right corner, you can see it says special event. Fundamentally, we were given the opportunity to play the game during the alpha, and we're able to record it. Hey, thanks for the bits. And thank you guys for the crazy amount of follows. This is actually straight up making my night. I was not this is totally last minute that we decided to go live. And we were talking about this footage and we were showing it off in the Discord, and we were we should just go live on Twitch. What are we doing? And it's making my night that we're setting records for our stream for viewers here.
You spent so many months feeling quite content at what other sort of games would consider to be fairly low viewer count, but when you kind of consider the New World category, sitting at maybe 20 to 30 people in total sort of thing. So the renewed and increasing kind of popularity of the category. We're really happy that more people are seeing us. More people are kind of tuning in and checking us out, which is great.
Absolutely. So one thing to note is that, like, despite the fact that I'm wearing light armor, I'm pretty glass cannon built. Like, I'm able to take on people using a variety of different weapons. I'm able to win most of those fights. A lot of that is due to skill, but like, when we say like we've played a lot of the alpha, like, we're in the multiple thousands of hours. So like it's not not unheard
Yeah,
of for us to win fights.
I have a picture somewhere of, like, my Steam hours before it was wiped for I think it was one of the alphas. The current alpha that's there anyway. But I think in total, if you added all of the hours that we had, we'd probably have like, a good 3K hours each, so probably 6K hours between us. And yeah, as Elan just kind of said in chat, like on Tuesday there's going to be an Amazon Games kind of stream announcing some stuff. We have no idea what they're announcing, but they said that that they're having a stream, that they may be announcing some stuff. So we are definitely catching that. We are hoping to co-stream. I think that's the phrase, co-stream that with reactions and with breakdown as to what what they say, what that means in the grand scheme of things. Which is value added for you guys, because if that I'm sure that there are definitely some people in chat that have played the alpha, but like for the people who haven't been able to get in on the alpha, we'll be here to sort of provide you some some context to what they say.
Yeah. So no one in the video is wearing. There are actually Junie here is wearing plate armor. The lower leveled plate armor doesn't look like the high level plate armor, because in this video we're only like level 30s. So like you can tell he's able to take a hit here, despite that, but I'm able to kind of dodge around. And it really is heavily dependent on like how you choose to play, and like what your kind of method is. Like if you plan on taking hits, you're going to be wearing that heavier armor, and you're going to be reliant on alternative methods to get you out. You're going to be reliant on your CC maneuvers and abilities. You're going to be lesser reliant on on your dodge, versus here you can see, oh hey, I dodge away and then boom, nuke him when he gets in close, like, because that's just kind of how that works.
You got a pretty solid hit on him with that fireball there.
Oh yeah. So mage seems very powerful. That said, most weapons will feel powerful. Like,
if you the other kind of thing as well is between this and the state that it is now, you can literally go to newworld.com and look at the patch notes since this, and this was about 2 months ago. You look at the weapon balancing from those patches, like they did tone down the sort of the sheer kind of power of the specifically the fire staff.
Are we playing at the moment? No, we're this is recorded footage of the expedition event. We managed to do a little bit of PvP at the end of it, where we're just chatting with devs and kind of utilized the opportunity to snag this footage. So
I think a lot of people have kind of been wondering about how the PvP kind of how it would function, sort of thing. I mean, it's not a massive 50 on 50, but like you 50 on 50s, you get there's a degree of understanding, like not being able to understand what's going on there to some degree because of the chaos of it all. Whereas duels, you get more of a feel as to how the combat system is functioning.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is, at this particular point in time, I think the duel is
Yeah, the duel gets
been
interrupted by the
fully
Barkimedes.
interrupted.
And what's funny is like we also can't deal damage outside of the duel, so we had to wait for the Barkimedes to actually trigger. But because I'm so good at freaking dodging, like it was letting him hit me, which okay, like that's on me. It's half on me, half on Barkimedes for getting triggered there. Did the PvP feel good? Absolutely. You know, like I've had no issues with it. Like during the to give you guys a good idea of this, it felt better than the preview event. I'm not a huge fan of like crazy amounts of stagger, because if you were fighting more than 2 people and your timing wasn't freaking perfect, you were just stagger locked. And like a lot of people would complain that like, oh my god, like I get into a fight with a guy with a hatchet and like he just screws me up because I can't hit him, and I just constantly am staggered. You know, the ice spike is a pillar, and it actually shoots a little ball at him every once in a while, dealing a little bit of damage. It's doing a decent job of dodging.
It's just that little damage on top of it, like.
And
yeah, it does feel
totally
better.
Like, I know I'm from the Midwest, so like I say like a lot. So like I say like a lot. Yeah, good figure.
And I've been speaking to this. I've been speaking to this dude for like over 2 years now. So I've developed it too. So thank you for that.
Oh, I'm from the Midwest, but I don't live in the Midwest anymore, which makes me yeah. I'm just making. I know. I've got thick skin. I'm for those that don't know, I'm also one of the Reddit mods over on r-new world game. So if you're on Reddit, you have probably seen me. Oh hey, I used to live in Wisconsin. I actually grew up and went to school in Stevens Point. So if you know where that is. I also went to college in Green Bay. So. And worked up in Rhinelander and the whole works. Like, I've been all around that state. Great place to live. Incredibly cold most of the year, but, yeah.
That's interesting how he was able to interrupt your, interrupt you initially, but then you literally rolled back and was like, yeah, I'm going to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
Get screwed.
What faction are we most likely going to join? We are going to join Covenant. If anybody's looking for a company, we're more than happy to take people on. You can just say you're interested in the public chat on our Discord, and that's as big as our interview process is. We're a pretty chill group. Just
hey, do you like stabbing things? Yeah, we like stabbing things too. Come join our group.
As former EVE players, it's the exact opposite of what we used to do to recruit people, where it was everything all the way up to a blood sample. Oh yeah. But we'll go Covenant. We'll be on the U.S. East. We haven't picked an exact server yet.
If you need to know your ping, basically, like if you have the ability to ping a server in Washington,
I had a tool yesterday, but it's like scrolled super far back.
Like basically, the servers are going to be in Washington D.C. for North America East. So if your ping is good to Washington D.C., then basically that'll be your ping.
Oh yeah. Hey, thanks for the follow.
Nice.
Yeah. There was a if you send it to me on Discord, I'll send it in the link. I'm pretty sure it's the same link that I'm thinking of. We need to train our bot a little bit better, and it gets a little militaristic with links.
Go. Yeah. There you go. Post the link. Post the link back.
Oh, there we go. He gave you permission
permitted
there. You can post it.
I
You can post it in the chat now.
literally-
McLeod's got.
I thought,
There we go.
I wonder whether that I was like, I wonder whether that particular command works on this channel as well.
There we go. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. The one that pings all of the AWS server locations. Yes. Yeah, so like I've got a 19-second ping to the server. So,
Lucky boy.
yeah. I'm almost on top. Like when I've got a 19 millisecond ping, which to me actually sounds a little high because like in terms of geography, I'm right next to it. Like, yeah. What are your thoughts about the server cap? People are going to go mad over the one. So okay, here's the thing. On their website, they say over 1,000 people. Here's the thing. It's player density focused, so they're aiming for a certain feel in terms of like what's comfortable for having so many people on the map. I can tell you that number is not 1,000. It's over that, as their post actually says.
Yeah, it's you'll be adventuring alongside over 1,000 other players in a tournament. So they haven't put an actual number as to the cap, the high cap, but they've basically said that like you'll like the servers will be able to handle over 1,000 people.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where it's like the rumor's out there and it's founded because the 1,000 number is out there. That said, like it's out of context because that's also like 1,000. I can guarantee you 1,000 is not the server hard limit. Like fundamentally, that's just not like the game can expand to have way more than that. So, and like here's the thing: as the map gets bigger, they can totally add more people to the servers because your aim is to have so many people per square mile type situation. And that they're aiming for a certain feel. They're not really aiming for like a player like it's not a hardware limit or a software limit for them. It's more of a like if you have 1,000 people trying to collect ore in Everfall, all of your lives are miserable.
Yeah, it's about it's about the ability for people to be able to interact, but like also the ability to not like overwhelm.
Yep. The density of mobs and resources is set for a certain number of people. There is some dynamic components to that. But it's really aiming to be like a quality of life and positive experience where like you're going to go out and do quests and you're going to run into people in the open world that are going to help you. Is the game pay to win? Absolutely not. 100% no. So I'm going to take the opportunity and explain exactly why it's not for two reasons. First, there's nothing but cosmetics in the cash shop until at least next year. And two, the idea that they were talking about is rested XP. So I'm gonna explain this, and I'm actually gonna use the video that we're currently watching to explain this. And I'm gonna shift this up so that people can see the bottom corner of it here. You can see that I've got a certain amount of XP. Now, if I log out for 8 hours, after 8 hours, every hour, this is already in the game, every hour I gain 1% of a level worth of rested XP. That is not XP, that is rested XP. It means that the next time that I log in, up to a cap, so like if I'm away for a ton of hours, it'll cap out at like a level worth of XP, but I still have to log in to not not just get that XP. I have to actually go out, do stuff, do content, and I get that XP at a faster rate than I would normally get it. So what they were toying with the idea of is increasing the rate of rested XP, i.e. players who are away from the game for a longer time would be able to come back to the ability to, utilize shorter game spans, shorter, play times that are more sporadic throughout the week to a greater effect. So why is this not pay to win? Fundamentally speaking, if you play more, you are infinitely faster at gaining XP than waiting 8 hours to start gaining something that you still have to collect the next time that you log in. So even if they sold boosters to that, it's still capped. It's still, it's still time away from the game that it's just infinitely faster to just play the game.
Yeah, like, the most important aspect of that is you have for it to accrue, you have to be logged out of the game and not playing the game in order for it to accrue. Exactly. And when and when you do have a large amount of rested XP, you don't just log in and just receive it. Like, you have to do work to do it, but you do get it like at an increased rate, obviously. But obviously, that amount of XP is fixed.
Yeah. Now, and I know a ton of people saw Asmongold's stream or Reef stream of what was it? Can't even remember his name. Kira TV.
Whatever his name is.
The guy took a leak out of context and ran with it, and then added a whole bunch of like, here's my concerns, if they start going down this, they're gonna start doing all these other crazy things. And people start saying that, New World is doing all of those other crazy things because they took that out of context, and all of a sudden you've got a runaway thing of telephone saying a game is doing something that it's not.
He went into a crazy sort of what if this, what if that kind of thing. Yeah. And, people kind of didn't look at it as to what it was, which is a what if. If people took it as they're definitely doing this. They're not definitely doing this. Like, that was pure assumption and conjecture from Asmongold. So...
Yes.
And if you actually look at what's being said, like, and understand what rest XP actually is, then you know that this isn't anywhere near as bad as people make it out to be.
So let's talk about what we can publicly say about what needs to potentially improve. I think weapon variety. I'd like to see 2, maybe 3 more weapons added. I think that's in the works. I think that's something they definitely would plan on doing. I would like to see larger than 5-person groups and raids. Like, I think they've towed into this, like with the invasions, where you're 50 people defending a fort. But they're relatively rare. I want that kind of event to be something that, like, I can take a company of 50 dudes who are online and be like, let's go do something crazy. That's going to require a massive raiding party. Like, I think that mid-range content of like 10 to sub-level 60, where you start playing Outpost Rush. That mid-range content is lacking, in my opinion. Because Outpost Rush fills the 20v20 gap for PvP, but in terms of raids for like PvE, I really think that they could add in something that would be a little bit more. Like, right now, you've got expeditions that are at 5, and then you've got invasions that are 50. So, like, fill that 20-man raid gap.
But you have the Outpost Rush stuff as well.
Well, but that's PvP. Like,
No, that's true.
I want the PvE aspect to match that, because like you've got PvP 1v1 up to 1v5. You've got 20v20. You've got 50v50. So, from there, I'd love to see it be a little bit more on the PvE side, because I think that's where you're going to get a lot of like really cool replayable content. I think that content like that kind of is needed in the later game, like the late game. That said, like there is expeditions that you can run over and over again. The invasions and stuff like that are all repetitive content that you can definitely do, and I would totally suggest people do them.
Plus the different styles and events and stuff like that will have different drops, like unique drops to it and stuff. So,
Absolutely. By the way, like for the record, you guys are making my night with like how active chat is and how many follows and all that. Like, legit, it's making my night. Considering like we weren't planning on streaming, and I know McLeod here wasn't planning on streaming for more than an hour, but
no,
I'm gonna take as much of his presence as I can get.
Dragged me further and further into like, I mean, it's gonna start to be morning here. Like, I'm gonna start to literally look outside and be like, well, there's the sunrise. I haven't slept. Like, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Also,
if you need to go, don't like I might go for a little longer here.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
But,
I just want to say that the spear has a really fantastic throw that like has a knockdown ability on it, and it's really cool.
I'm gonna showcase a little bit of the
the actual
expedition as well. Since we're here, like we're talking about PvP, but like let's also look at some of the PvE. Obviously, like again, I'm a glass cannon build, so like I'm doing some solid damage here. But I also I think I get downed a number of times during this. Some people said we made this look too easy when we initially aired this. I would like to note that IGN failed to complete the first boss in this particular expedition. So
part of it comes down to having someone who is like, so so this is an interesting thing, right? New World touts itself as being classless, but the thing is, it does help to basically determine yourself as being sort of kind of one of the paradigm classes. I think that's not the right word, but one of the classic classes, MMO RPG kind of classes. Like, in these sorts of situations, you definitely need someone who is concentrating on healing people. So if you don't have a healer,
the server location for EU is Frankfurt, Germany.
Yeah, so if you don't have a healer, like, these things can get pretty tough. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible to go through, without having a healer. I think there's definitely ways and means that you could get through this with, with having self healings and making sure that essentially you all kind of rotate around, so you all have time to be able to heal. But the classic sort of healer, tanker, sort of DPS roles in a party when it comes to sort of raids, it is still a very, very efficient and effective way of dealing with them.
From Wisconsin, your ping is going to be roughly the same to both, I think. Might be edged towards because you're going to get routed through Chicago. So I would play US East.
Depends if you're on Starlink.
The mod just nuked him for trying to post the same thing he posted earlier. which
Oh shit. I can
actually
I can
is
redo
valuable
it.
to post.
I'll redo it. Don't worry.
Let Mac unfuck our mod here and and yeah, there's a ping ping thing here that that Mac has posted a couple of times that is very useful in determining which server to use. Now it's like for the bot only gives permission to post a link for like a couple of minutes apparently.
Yeah, it's like 60 seconds. So
yeah, our bad.
You can go for it again, Mac. Like you can post it again. Yeah.
I'm digging kind of the Q&A. It's not very often we get like I'm super pumped about this because like we get like we've been doing this for a year and a half. So like we're used to streaming to like 20 people who have built up over the course of, you know, a couple of years or a year and a half at this point. You know, into the community. So like being able to stream to 50 people is a pretty solid friggin' night for us.
We get a good range of yeah, the nice thing is you know with this today we're getting a good range of questions and they're coming in. They're coming through quite nicely, so we don't have to feel like we can like almost like we have to sort of stretch out the content until the next question comes along, which is great. So we can just like proceed. Which is nice.
It is. I think it wouldn't be unheard of if they released patch notes again, like just to keep people on their toes and prevent people from the alpha from being like, hey, you know, here's a prevent people from, you know, from the alpha from like knowing what the meta is going to be. They might wait to release those kind of notes, which in my opinion would be appropriate and would not be at all surprising based on just, you know, how these guys have done stuff in the past.
I mean, they're releasing patch notes for a game that isn't even out yet, and they've been doing so for, you know, how long? So it's you know,
what game do you know out there that in a closed NDA in alpha is releasing patch notes about exactly what they're doing? You know, it's a really cool thing to see.
That is one of the that is one of the sort of examples of how I kind of see Amazon games not doing things the normal way, not doing things the way that like typical games companies do things, which, you know, when you consider how, you know, people always run with the doom and gloom kind of sort of naysaying based on other, you know, how other games companies have you know, run their ship. It makes me think that you know, that Amazon Games, with regards to New World, is going to do things a little bit differently, at least.
Oh yeah.
Because they're obviously showing that you know, they want to do things not the typical way.
Yeah. Well, and I think like for anybody who had the opportunity to play the preview last year, the entire reason that they gave people that opportunity was that they wanted people to see why the game wasn't ready to release.
But they still felt like they owed people, you know, to at least see what they had done so far.
Yeah.
Like what had been
hey,
built
you guys
so
have
far.
supported us, so like let's throw you a bone, let's give you a chance to play it, but also like you see why, like if you played the preview, you saw why it needed more. When you played the preview event last fall, you know, now, you know, you've got expeditions, you've got Outpost Rush, you've got a ton more game modes, you've got voiceovers for some of the quests, you've got you know, like there's a lot more depth to it. There's a lot more there. The quest revamp, you know, there's much more content there, and
the thing is, it's not just
content. It's exactly what the player, like when you look at the grand themes of what players were asking for. You know, we want a zone where we can PvP all the time. You know, like I just want a PvP all the time. You know, that has exclusive content specific to that zone. Can anybody in chat take one guess at what that is? I'm curious. I'm curious if anybody can see where I'm going with this.
I mean, I know where you're going with this, but like, you know, that's because I've heard this from you before.
Yeah. Because this is a really creative way of answering the question.
It's,
like,
yeah, and then to be fair, it's also the same place that you can go and, you know, go and kill somebody who's, you know, mining or cutting down trees and just take all their shit as well.
So Outpost Rush. Outpost Rush literally brings you to a special part of the map in which PvP is on all of the time because you're 20v20, and Outpost Rush gives you exclusive gear and cosmetics that are specific to Outpost Rush. You cannot get them anywhere else. So, you know, players got what they wanted. Like, you know, hey, there you go. You know, it's not like an open world area, but at the same, it's a pseudo open world, I guess. But it's, you know, you can't just like roll in there with a bunch of people. Like, you can go in there with, you know, I think you can queue up with a group of 5. Apologies for the bot. Its sensitivity setting is set way too high.
It doesn't respond well to cussing.
It only times you out for 1 second. I promise. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for beginners for leveling?
For leveling specifically, right? So you know.
So loops.
Yeah.
Loops is a big thing, concept-wise. So here's what you're going to want to aim for. When you go to a settlement, you're going to go to different quest givers, accept multiple quests. Accept them from the town board, accept them from the
this is probably the
faction,
most
from, you know, all of the different quest givers around town, etc. Like, accept all of the shit. Then you're going to get a bunch of pins on your map. Then go out, go up, wave back and forth, and do loops all the way around town. Finish all those objectives, grab all of the points of interest, any of the lore pages that you can find, because those are all going to give you XP. Hey, thanks for the raid. It's the first time I've seen the raid notification.
Hey. Cheers,
thank you. You know, so that's a big one.
The other one is actually which wasn't really working on the preview, so you didn't really get a sense of, like, you know, how well it would work. But one of the other things that will definitely help with regards to leveling as well is you know, playing with a group, because if you're actually grouped up in a in-game group, you will get XP from things that you don't even hit yourself. Like, if you're one of your group members hits you know, an NPC that dies, you know, you will get XP from it.
Yes.
So, you know, don't be a solo player. Like, it's you know, actually I'll put it a different way. Like, you can be a solo player for sure, and you can do loops and stuff like that, for example, but there is obviously another way of being able to maximize your XP, and that's also playing in a group.
I'm absolutely loving the pre-beta hype right now. Like, you know, I love that we're like so close to the launch that we can taste it, and like, you know, we're getting to talk with a ton more people and introduce them to, like, you know, like a ton of people will be like, oh, you know, these guys are clearly crazy about this game because, like, we've played a ton of it, but at the same time, like, one of the things that fundamentally makes us love sharing this content is, like, being able to share something you love with, like, people for once.
It's fun.
Like,
it's really strange
after being under an NDA for so freaking long. Like,
I mean, we are technically under an NDA still. You know,
yeah.
like you know, we can't speak about things that specifically have happened in the alpha. But you know, more people with more excitement about the game like means that we get to be able to share what we can to more people and get to sort of, see their reactions, see sort of like the excitement that they have, which gives us kind of, that it makes us excited as well, because it makes us feel like we're
Exactly.
I can't, it's a difficult thing to describe, right? It's
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like you feed off the excitement yourself.
And like playing thousands of hours and still desperate to get back into the game says something. Like, like I'm friggin' pumped for Tuesday. Like, it's been a while since we've had the opportunity to play. Like, the alpha went down a couple weeks ago now, and then jonesing for getting back in. Like,
yeah.
And that's rare. Like, you don't find a ton of games like that. Yeah. So we're gonna go Covenant, U.S. East Coast. We haven't picked the server yet, but yeah. Like, it's just fun to be able to do that, and it's also like like when I've said this a number of times tonight, but like legit, you guys are making my night with all of the subs, the follows, the bits. Like
all of that.
I know at least one of our Patreon supporters is in the crowd tonight. Like, seriously making my days. And if you
are interested, and if you are interested in in being in the closed beta, like all you need to basically have is a pre-order of New World to be able to do that. You can purchase it on Steam. It's probably going to be easier, less steps to get into that. Via sort of purchasing via Steam. If you've purchased it via sort of Amazon on their Amazon site, you'll essentially be given a CD key to enter into Steam. And if you wanted to,
it does have a delay. So to caveat that there is a delay. So how this works, fundamentally speaking, on Steam, if you pre-order right now, it will be added to your thing, but you can't preload it until I think Monday. But once you preload it, you'll be good to go. Like, it's automatically, like, if you pre-order it on Steam, it's automatically added to your library. If you pre-order it on Amazon, which is a way you could support this channel, doesn't cost you any extra. Below here, you can pre-order via Amazon. There's an affiliate link down there. It will send you a link. So like there's, when you put in the pre-order on Amazon, it goes through their ordering server, then it goes and talks to another server, then it talks to another server that then sends you an email with a CD key. That CD key is your beta key. And then when the game actually launches, Amazon will charge you. This is the biggest difference. If you cancel your pre-order in Amazon, it never charged you to begin with. It only charges you when the game launches. However, if you pre-order on Steam, it'll charge you immediately because Steam is a third party and they want their money.
That's how they do it, yeah.
So if you're looking to play the beta for free, hot take, fundamentally grab it on Amazon. It'll be an added step because they're going to send you via an email to your Amazon email, account-based email there. Then you're going to link that into Steam anyways. Or if you want to skip the step, or pre-order it on Steam. Now, if you do this too late, it will be up to 48 hours after a pre-order that you'll get that key from Amazon. But if you pre-order on Steam, it'll be almost instant. So,
yeah, there's positives and negatives to each version, because if you pre-order on Steam, I don't think the closed beta is subject to the whole 4 hours play.
It isn't.
So you can play the whole of the beta, and if you're still at that point having second thoughts on it, you can refund it at that particular point.
It's exactly like, for those of us that played in the alpha, it's the exact same thing. You're getting a key that is not for the final version of the game, i.e. they're not charging you yet, or they are charging you if you're ordering it from Steam, but it's a different version of the game. I can actually show what this looks like in Steam.
Oh, okay, cool. Just doing.
So
just
you
doing
can
a
see.
bit of random wizardry. There you go.
Don't mind the fact that I have Crucible up. I was using it as an example earlier. I needed the date from it, so like that's not a just yeah. I know the game's dead. It's never gonna So like you can see that New World and New World Closed Beta are two different games. We're gonna ignore the one in between there. But you can see that they're two different things. Steam will continue to see them as two different things, and that's how that works. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool little thing there for people who didn't know that. Beta still isn't in your library. You might want to like email Steam and be like, "Yo, I'm supposed to get this," or like cancel your pre-order and pre-order.
Yeah, I looked at my history. I definitely pre-ordered on Steam.
Oh, he's definitely restarted Steam because like we checked like 2 days ago and I had it and he still doesn't have it. Yeah. Do you think it would be possible to reach level 60 in the beta? I think for people who like super sweaty, like go crazy with it, possibly. Like if you're really heavy grinding.
So I wonder about this. So just as a thing, right? It's understandable for Amazon to be able to potentially allow you to get to level 60 because there's some aspects and some there's a fair amount of gameplay that is kind of requires level 60 to be able to experience. So it kind of makes sense that Amazon would allow you in those 2 weeks to be able to get to 60 in order to try out that. Upon release, I'm not sure whether it's going to be the same like speed in terms of leveling process, and I don't think they're going to do that specifically to make it grindier, just to basically sell you things to stop it from feeling that grindy. I feel like they want to add a bit more longevity when it comes to the actual release of the game. So people can, rather than, feel like they need to speed through the content, that they can actually enjoy the content rather than just trying to speed through it.
The other question is going to be if they maybe accelerate the XP for the beta, because it is kind of a shorter period and they're going to want people to play Outpost Rush. So like that might happen.
That's what I mean. You have those 2 weeks and that's it, for the beta. Whereas once the game's released, you don't have that that cutoff period. Like if the game is released, it's going to carry on going for months and months and months and months and months.
So regulars for the channel will have seen this graphic before, but we track a lot of things that we probably shouldn't, and like way too much data that we probably shouldn't. But aside from talking about like the obvious hype built here and their marketing trending, I want to talk about this period of time.
Oh, okay.
So beta goes basically 2 weeks, and then it ends. And then from there, we have this like gap. Now they could take that gap and just finalize the game, blah blah blah. But like, I think something's gonna happen. I've said it on stream a number of times. I think that there is potentially going to be either an extension to the beta, or I think that they might do something absolutely bonkers crazy. And like, I think that this would be like the best thing that they could possibly do. If the beta is going well, I think that they'll launch an open beta. Like a full-on, free to everyone, come join, and then close a few days before launch and be like, hey, we're going into launch, and then poof. That's what I think is going to happen. They have not announced anything like that. There was a hint at this. There was a hint at this, and
yeah, they dropped a.
Find.
Yeah, it will be. They dropped. They dropped a dev blog with a ton and a half of stuff. And then right at the very end of it, there was a section where they were talking about the, their release cadence.
So
the closed beta, and
this was in this part here, the highlighted part, was rapidly removed from a released version of the patch notes in like the last paragraph, and it was only up for about 30 minutes, but it was there. I think that they accidentally leaked their plans for a potential open beta. I think. That said, It's not confirmed. They took it down, and then on Twitter they basically said, no, it's not happening. Like, don't worry about it. It was a typo. Like, no big deal.
And to be fair, it did come at the end of an extraordinarily long series of patch notes that, you can tell that people would have had to, go through and proofread. And at the end of that, who's going to proofread that final little bit, right?
Yeah. They have been known to give us surprises as well. So, like, there's that. So, you never really know. And of course, like, here's the other little secret about companies, that make games like this. They're not necessarily going to show the alpha everything. They may show the alpha most things, but there may be modules to the game that they have not introduced to the general public yet, or to the alpha participants.
Yeah, and we've talked about this in previous sort of episodes, that you can, as a developer of a game, you can put together essentially content to test out one system, and then roll that same system out with different content for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that content can be just as exciting as the content that you put out to test, but completely different, but have a different sort of feel to it, have a different sort of edge to it, sort of thing. So just because we've seen certain people have seen certain things on the alpha doesn't mean that that's the entirety of what we're going to be getting.
Exactly. They're sneaky like that. So like, I would fully anticipate the dev event that's going to happen on Tuesday at 9:00, right before, like, the 30 minutes before the beta starts. They're going to have a live stream that will have a Twitch drop, so be there.
That's 9 a.m. PST, by the way, Pacific Standard Time. We
will be streaming 100%, guaranteed. We will be streaming long before they start their official stream, and we will be streaming long after. What's a Twitch drop? It's basically potential for like a cosmetic item or something like that, like a skin or etc. That by watching a Twitch stream as it airs, the drop happens. Anybody who's in it, whose account is linked, will get a drop, and they'll get a message from Twitch saying, hey, use this code to redeem for X item, for your Twitch drop item. Like, yeah.
And I fully expect
no clue what it's going to be, but yeah.
I fully expect that there's also going to be Prime loot as well. Like, anybody who's been on Twitch long, well, I wouldn't say long enough, but for any period of time really, has got these little pop-ups saying Prime Gaming loot for you to claim, and this, that, and the other. So I'm fully expecting that there's going to be Prime loot for New World.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you guys hit the follow button so you know when we're streaming again, because obviously we're going to stream the game when it comes out.
Hell yeah! And also the closed beta.
For the closed beta, we'll be streaming. You can stream the closed beta. It's not behind an NDA. So like, that's definitely something that we will be doing. If you have questions or anything like that, we're a solid place to come ask them. If you're looking for a company to join our Discord. We're real casual. We've got a ton of people that we're slowly bringing in, and yeah, like I'm freaking pumped for this. Like you guys have no idea like how much I've been looking forward to this. Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a year and what? Year and 7 months?
Yeah. Year and 7 months. Our first stream, we streamed to 3 people. And right now we're streaming to 56.
Which is fantastic.
Like,
and when we started this, we were basically going, it'll be 4 months. We can do a bit of development, this, that, and the other. We'll have like content, and it'll release in 4 months, and we'll be good. A year and 7 months later, like the game is there, but the game is looking real good.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty pumped about this. So the other thing they're doing is they're putting a lot of like the big name streamers on like I think the same server. And they're gonna have them like duke it out, Battle for New World style. So like I'm curious if Asmongold is gonna be on the list for Marauders that'll be released tomorrow.
Yeah, so there's teams, but there's basically there's three factions to some degree that you can choose, and obviously the streamers are basically being grouped into teams, so 3 different teams.
And there are going to be some really big names playing this. Sacrael and Shroud are 2 of the 10 people, 10 big streamers that are going to be doing.
They're Covenant, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're Covenant.
Then you got Smashley and a few other. I can't remember all the names, but there's 20 of them. Yeah, I think Towley was one of them. Like the what's the Shroud? Shroud is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, actually. Like, man's a CS:GO god. I kick this back over to.
I'm looking for our feed stuff. Like, I'm looking to see, like, where's our feed channels? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. I'm literally on the wrong Discord.
So that's going to be a fun thing to watch. They've got a lot planned for this. Obviously, Amazon is pulling out all the stops to launch their first major MMO. Thanks for the follow. It's huge. Like this is going to be like for anybody who's been like watching the community and watching like the Discords and the subreddits and stuff like that, the volume of interest in the last like 2 weeks went from like, oh, I got a question here and there to I think we're up to several hundred new posts a day on the Discord or on the subreddit, and the Discords have just been blowing up. Shit, I think our Discord alone has gained
fair amount.
Almost, I think 50 or 60 members, which is crazy. Like, why Covenant? Basically purify the heretics. Yep. I'm a bit of a 40k fan, but also the name of our company that we're running is the Ninth Legion, so kind of fits with Rome and the whole like Vatican influence and all of that, and yeah. I'm also really hopeful that they have a cosmetic for the Roman Legionnaire. Just saying. Gonna be real upset if they don't.
Did you get the images of the 2 teams that have been called so far? Because if not, then I'm just going to post them into stream chat.
Yeah, you can post them in the stream chat there.
Okay. So that's Team Syndicate. Zoraida, Kamek, Magla, Alpha Cast, Bob Lennon, Crayon, Mormon. I'm butchering these names. I'm most likely butchering these names. Joya de Grenier, Kenny Stream, Gaius, and Taunton.
Is that the EU ones or the
and
US
then there's
ones?
and then there's sorry.
Is that the EU or the US ones? Because there's
Oh shit! There's EU and US ones.
Yeah.
Oh crap! I didn't know. I was just like, well, that looks like the Covenant. That looks like the Syndicate one. So
Yep.
like, yeah. So that's one team. That's the other team that's been called so far, which is Sacriel.
The Raiders team is EU.
Mans,
yeah.
Anthony Conklin, Grims, Sakisha, Danton Age, Arix, Fairlight, Excalibur, Cypherofter. That's a quite difficult name to pronounce. And Zamira Mira as well.
I foresee heavy politics happening in New World. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, it's an MMO, and you have tribes, so you know you have groups of people who are going to be committed to their groups. So yeah, there's going to be politics in it.
Mm-hmm. Does a very good job of pitting people against each other. Very, 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 very good job of pitting people against each other.
I apologize to all of those streamers who I butchered their names of. Sorry.
But yeah, like I'm absolutely pumped for this. I switched over the footage from the
back to PvP
expedition back to the PvP. So like for anybody that's joining in, that's like, hey, like all they showed was expedition
PvP
content,
and dancing.
PvE, like,
PvP and dancing.
Yeah. You'll notice of the people in our little group here that we're like chatting with in the server. Some of the names start with NW. That is because they're devs. This video is pre-approved by them. So like this is part of the expedition event where we're just hanging out afterwards. We're like, hey, let's show some PvP. Like, let's do some duels. And like, not only did they humor us, but they humored us for like a solid 45 minutes to an hour after we were kind of supposed to be done. Like you could see the other groups like finishing the expedition, and then Now, okay, so I got to caveat two things here. One, I have kind of a hard counter to what he's using. He eventually switches to a bow and a rapier and kills me twice in a row. So, like, there is a counter. There is an appropriate counter. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have the right equipment, because, like, if you play rock, paper, scissors and, you try and beat scissors with paper, you're gonna have a rough time.
And there's an interesting kind of thing as well, because I'm like I'm somewhat I kind of have a bit of a penalty with regards to my ping. It's funny actually, because a little way back when you were talking, and I was trying to shoot you with a musket, I could literally see my ping, like like shown in the missed shots, and by exactly the same amount each time, and I was like, yeah, that's the ping right there.
Yeah. So rock, paper, scissors isn't a perfect analogy there, because like, there are ways that you could bait me into using certain skills. So like the incinerate, where I do the whirl around me with the fire staff. If you baited that out and then get close to me, I'm very, very, very helpless. So like, I'm heavily relying on that as a mechanic. But I also am not a person to to get that baited out very often. So you can see, he's trying to take out the pylon and he's actually, for some reason, not actually hitting it. But I make him walk through the ice stuff. He does actually get that to bait, but there's a small problem that the NPC, and this is me just like overly dodging. Yeah. How does this look for release on time? It's gonna release on time. It's ready.
And you see interference going on there, and that's because an NPC has interfered with the duel.
Yeah, I'm 100% confident that the game will launch this time. I have no fear of it not launching, unless something like cataclysmically wrong happens. The game is fundamentally ready to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not worried about that anymore.
Obviously, if you have any questions out there that we haven't answered, or that you haven't heard that we answered, then just speak up. We're here to help answer questions for sure.
Yeah, there's too many large scale things in motion, in terms of like massive screamers that have already like started press releases for the game coming out, and all of these other things that like it's gonna happen. The wheels are moving. It's gonna happen. The game's ready. It's in a great state. It's time.
You got that healing potion off real fast.
Would you not take Entombed in a PvP build for the Gauntlet? I wouldn't. I think it's very valuable for like PvE, but I don't see it as a super valuable thing for PvP.
I don't think it has enough hit points to be able to be effective in PvP, because you can break people out.
I mean, based on so whenever I talk about the game's content and stuff like that, from a perspective of is it ready, like looking at what we're watching right here, the game was ready a couple of months ago. Sure, it had some bugs, but like and like in this video at one point the shirt changes to the texture from the Ice Gauntlet, but like it is what it is. Thanks for the follow.
One of the other things about MMOs is, especially MMOs are notoriously for the large part live service games, and it can be difficult to figure out whether a live service game is ready to be released, because live service MMOs are always in a state of being further developed. So from a development standpoint, you have to ask yourself, like, when is it ready? Like, and that's a lot more of a difficult question to ask compared to something like something like a single player game, like like an Assassin's Creed, for example, right?
And that line is a different line potentially for the devs than it is the players, and this is where I give a lot of credit to Amazon Games, where like last year they asked themselves, is the game ready? And then they looked at the player feedback and like, oh hey, like we need to delay, we need to add more, and then they delayed it a year, like, which is not an inexpensive thing to do. Like, for people that don't know, they've got a team of over 200 people working on this, so like base salaries in California alone, accounting for higher end salaries and some lower than that, roughly speaking, you're looking at about $18 million on just salaries, not to mention like cost of renting space and all of that, plus equipment, plus COVID stuff and all that. Like, it was expensive for them to delay the game a year, but like it's gonna have an infinitely better launch because of it. Yeah, and that's one team. That doesn't include the team that they just hired, and I think it's Montreal that's going to be working on what we believe is a first-person shooter, because they hired in a bunch of people from the
Division, right?
No, Rainbow Six
Was it
Siege.
Division? Oh, right. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the Siege, wasn't it? Yeah.
So, there's that. Like that's, that's a pretty solid team for 200 is a solid team for an MMO. You know, answering the question quickly about the whole like, is your character? So when you do the beta, none of that progress will be kept for the actual launch. It'll all reset. And that's going to be full reset at launch, and then I don't think they'll ever reset anything again. We can hope.
Yep. Well, that's the plan, right? That's the plan is that it's a persistent thing. It's a persistent universe, or a persistent world. So once they've done the wipe for the full release, that's it.
Have you played this game? Yes. This is my character playing this game right now. Or, well, I mean, in the video.
Not right now. It was recorded, but that was...
So this is me playing the game a month and a half ago when we had the expedition event.
Well, I wouldn't say that's the only thing that you can do. That's definitely something that will definitely benefit the game, the main launch kind of thing. But the other kind of thing with a beta is, you get the opportunity to be able to play the game and really feel that you want to carry on with having the pre-order, right? Because everybody who has pre-ordered gets to be able to play in the closed beta. And you can determine at that particular point when you play the closed beta as to whether you want to carry on and keep the pre-order. But if you like it, if you want to support them, if you want to be in this for the long run, and playing New World for months, maybe years and years and years, then helping out by reporting bugs and stuff that you experience in the beta is definitely a great thing to do.
And the other big thing is, if you see an exploit, report the exploit.
Yes.
Instantly. Like, go to the forums. They will be active again. Go to the forums, PM one of the developers, and say, I found an exploit. Here is the repeatable steps for how to do it. And when I say repeatable steps, I don't mean I've done it 150 times with all of my friends, so we've all cheated on this, but here's the thing that we did to cheat. When you find an exploit, do it again, so you can make sure that you see it. Let's say something bugs out when you do something a certain way. Do it again, so that you can repeat it. Tell them what those steps are to repeat it, so that they can figure out how to code against it, and potentially fix it. That way they know what they're looking for. Anybody who's done any kind of QA work or anything like that knows that figuring out how something happened is more important than anything else, because this happened. Well, okay, how did it happen? I don't know, it just happened. Well, what were you doing? I don't know. Well, that doesn't help. Because now they've got to try an infinite amount of variables to try and figure out what you did to make that happen. So if something happens, definitely report it. In terms of stagger, I really want to. I just want to say, try it. Trust me. It's a lot better than it sounds. If you focus on abilities for crowd control instead of every swing, it's still very good. I like.
I mean, the thing is with the footage that was showing, you were intelligence build mainly because the Ice Gauntlet was the new weapon that they were introducing at that particular point. So we were going with that to be able to see and showcase that at that particular point, in the expedition event, right? So that's kind of the reason why we were set up as sort of why you were set up as in Intel based. I was set up as Dex based because there were some changes to the bow and to the musket that I wanted to try out, because the bow and the musket were kind of like, we're not in a great place, and then they released some buffs, and I wanted to see how well those buffs had kind of gone. So that's the reason why we were using what we were using. Like, it's not because we felt like the more melee based combat was less effective.
A reminder here that, like, this is before they switch their not before they've lost a couple of these matches. I think I'm about to get dunked with a rapier here. Like, I have also played 3,000 hours of this game, so like when it comes to dunking people, like muscle memory, I can do it without looking at the computer. So like, there's that aspect of it. That said, their devs, like Junie here, beats me several times. Like, he's beating a guy who has that level of muscle memory. So like, I think this one he actually beats me because he's got the bow. Which
I think the bow's
is a straight counter to the fire staff, by the way.
I think the bow is actually a better on with compared to the musket as well, because it's a little bit more versatile as well.
The fire speed is a lot faster. This is a very close one, but he's got the edge on me because, again, I've got slow cooldowns, but he gets me. So like, there are counters. There are, I could wear different things. I could play this out differently. I could use skills and abilities in different ways to potentially win that fight. But he did a really good job. Now, why am I pointing that out? Because that means their devs are playing enough to be competitive against somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Like, I can't stress enough that is incredibly important, and that gives me a lot of hope for them balancing the game over time. Like, because here's the reality. Any system in which you have as many variables as there are, there will always be some sort of imbalance. There will always be a meta. That said, with their prevalence of being able to and willing to patch things and balance things, I don't think it will be uncommon for them to change weapon damage and stuff like that to make it to change the meta relatively frequently and get it closer to that equilibrium where everybody will feel the same. They feel like they're equally competitive with every weapon. There are ways that you can beat everyone with any weapon. Like, simply put, there are ways that exist that you can do that.
And then you just got defeated by a rapier.
Yeah, I get dunked by a rapier right here. Again, just because I can dunk people with certain gear doesn't mean I can dunk them with everything. I'm also wearing light armor and I'm glass cannon built, so like, now using the right abilities at the right time, ta-da, I beat him. But if it is action based, it is not like that. Like when it comes to like tab target type stuff, like there's no skill there. Timing is not as important. And especially like positioning is not as important. Versus this, you could tell him missing me slightly with his abilities changed the entire outcome of the fight.
This is you'll see this. This is where you see like my ping.
Yeah.
It's like you literally see like my shots missing at pretty much exactly the same amount.
Yeah. So there's the misplay from me. The switch to the ice gauntlet. Slow him down, and gonna drop the pylon, swap back to the fire staff. I don't have any mana. I'm gonna chug a pot, throw a fireball, try and contain him to the right so he then
Dave,
runs out of
this is
room,
like-
and then boom, close distance and fire off the incinerate. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
But you see that those misses were almost always exactly just about the same distance away from you
oh yeah,
to the side. It's like, god damn.
yeah. So
From my perspective, I kept on shooting through you. pretty
yeah.
much.
So I wanna start wrapping things up because one, we're approaching the end of the video again, and two, like with respect to McLeod's time, he's in the UK, so like, you know, it's almost breakfast for him.
Mm.
You know, I do want to give him the opportunity to actually get some sleep tonight, while while it's dark out. I'd like him the opportunity to get some sleep because I'm gonna need him for streaming on tomorrow and, well, I mean today for him.
Yeah, it's July and it's 5 in the morning. It ain't dark anymore, dude.
Oh, I tried.
It's all right.
That said, you know, I again, like, you guys have made my night with the sheer numbers of follows, the raids, the subscribers, the you know, the Patreon involvement. Like, it's been a crazy night. If you guys are looking for a place to continue the discussion, I'm gonna be online post the show. I don't know if McLeod is, because he might go to bed. He might hang out afterwards. But if you want to chat with me, I will be in the Discord. Feel free to hop in, pick my brain about stuff. You know, I don't bite, at least not hard. You know, unless you're on the subreddit, then you know. And if you're looking for a subreddit, the one true subreddit is r-New World Game. Don't let the other one fool you. Nobody wants to say underscore twice when they can say a subreddit's name. That said, again, thank you everybody. It's been a phenomenal show. It's an awesome turnout. I'm super thrilled to have people here. We're probably going to continue this discussion tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Probably afternoon because it's the weekend and frankly I want to sleep in.
Let's see if we can poke Redbird and Bordy.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get them on.
I think they do their stuff on Sunday, like Sunday evening.
Yeah.
So we'll see whether they're free in the afternoons or something.
Yeah. Maybe we could time it so that we do our show and then we raid their show.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do about that. So that said, again, infinite thank yous to everybody. It's been just wonderful. And post-show will be in the public chat voice channel on the Discord. Feel free to hit us up. And with that, we will see you in the new world.